If you're just coming in now, if you can grab, if you're comfortable on a cushion, if not, we're just making sure we space people apart. So if you're coming in now and you can sit on a cushion, please grab a cushion. My friend, hello. Can you sit on a cushion? You? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Can you sit on a cushion? Yeah. Please. Thank you. Are you able to do a cushion or do you need a chair? Please. Thank you. Are you guys okay on cushions? There's two up here. Now there's one. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Can all join palms? So repeat after me. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. Keeping the palms joined. Palms down. It's Travis. Just make sure everybody's split, and then if we need a couple chairs along the back. Thank you.
If you guys the person on the center bench, just one person.
I know y'all maybe came together, but if you separate for a little bit, I promise they'll be there when you leave. Don't feel bad. There's only 4 of you who didn't want to split from the person you came in with. So I understand. You're all in the same room at least. I mean, it's not like we're taking you out back and throwing you outside. Funny how attached we are to like major things. Life, relationships, losing loved ones, jobs, financial security, real heavy things we're pretty attached to. You know what else we're really attached to? Where we sit. So I look at this as moments of practice to where, how many of you are like brand new to Buddhism, day one, never heard anything? A couple of you. So this is the best thing you're ever going to learn, right? As opposed to the next best thing you're going to learn. We are so attached to the things in our lives that mean so little. And then when we lose things that are of really deep value and meaning, we don't know how to deal with it. And the way we deal with it is by preparing, meaning practicing. In Buddhism, you hear the word practice a lot. Practicing dealing with non-attachment, meaning being okay with having things different from how we anticipated or expected them to be. I find one of the deepest Buddhist teachings is our attachment to self and this life that we have. And so people come to places like this trying to deal with pain, loss, suffering, sadness, resentment, regrets, anger. Like those are all pretty, anyone here dealing with any of that stuff? If not, I don't know why you're here, to be honest with you. These are pretty heavy things that we face, all right? And then you come to places like this, and hopefully if you're going to places like this that maybe have a tiny idea of what this practice is about, they give you opportunities to practice these things. Like I can't say, hey, I want you to deal with loss heavily right now.
Sure.
No, right. Well, actually, probably, yes. But if I said deal with moving seats, that's like baby steps. But those are the things that are so hard for us, right? So difficult. I was cleaning a bit, putting some stuff away, and somebody said to me, and most of you, I can look around and you know me well enough, so hopefully you understand the intention behind this, but somebody walked in and said to me, why are you cleaning? It's like, what do you mean? Why am I cleaning? All right. Why would I not clean? This is my temple as much as it is yours. And it was interesting because I haven't really given this talk in a while, but it reminded me of really this practice of making sure that, as I often say at the end, the temple has no cleaning crew. Right? We don't close down at 10 o'clock at night and bring in the people to clean the temple. Anyone take care of their clothes? Sound like it sometimes. I love the honesty. I didn't see any no's, but there's probably some of those too. Anyone take care of their cars? Make sure it's clean, detailed. Pay an extra $40 to make sure they clean out the vents. You're laughing, right? When was the last time you had your car cleaned?
I've never had my car cleaned.
Oh. Fair enough. I stand corrected, but
Totally see how you get attached to that.
right. Then there's the extreme of just never cleaning it at all. So another great Buddhist teaching is the middle path, right? Finding balance.
I deal with the fact that I can't have my car cleaned by someone else by telling myself I'm taking the middle path.
That is a terrible justification. Unless, of course, are you cleaning it?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Myself.
So you do clean it.
It's clean enough.
Okay, got it.
I like it, but it's actually clean.
But it's okay without the vents cleaned, right? So this went in a very different direction than I was anticipating. Still very good. So thank you for sharing, right? The message here is we learn to take care of the things that take care of us. And to me, there has never been any better place. And I say this from my personal experience. 18 years ago, the first day I showed up at the temple, a mile from here down the road. Actually, that's a lie. The first day I showed up, it was noon. I was hungover, had a headache, and I needed a place to go. And I found the Buddhist temple. The second day I showed up, they gave me a hammer and cleaning supplies and told me to go take stuff off the walls and hang things in the bathroom and clean it. That was my introduction to Buddhism, right? So, as I said, I haven't given this talk in a while, but ask yourself, if you're here for the first time, I get it. But if you've been coming here a long time, 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, ask yourself, how do you help take care of this place? And that's different for everybody. There is no right or wrong way. And the Buddhist teachings on dana, which is generosity, right? He taught very clearly the greatest thing you can give is the Dharma, is the teachings of the Buddha. He also taught very clearly, do not pressure or guilt people. So these talks are very delicate and very difficult, right? Often when I would, this isn't the topic of my talk today. Actually, I don't have a topic today as usual, but it's definitely not this. But often when I would give this talk, I would make sure that when I'm done doing something like this, that like all of the cleaning supplies are hidden and locked away. Because again, I take that message from the Buddha very clearly about not pressuring or guilting people into giving, because you could give a talk like this and then everybody's like, all right, I'm going to, the guilt settles in, the pressure settles in, the responsibility settles in, and everybody's like, give me a broom. And then next week, you're back to nothing. So these are things to think about. Temples are places to practice. Then the real lesson is, how do you take this out of the temple and into your own life? How do you take care of the things and people in your own life that are important, right? Do we completely not care for them at all? Or are we like cleaning out the vents, right? Where are we on that spectrum? Because that's really what these teachings are about. It's not about Buddhism. It's not about a temple. It's not about some grand spiritual path and awakening. It's about figuring out, how do you take care of yourself and what's in your life. That's what you learn from this practice. So, with that being said, we'll do a meditation practice. A couple things I'll tell you before we begin. Nothing's going to happen to you. You will not float away. You will not have any mystical, magical experiences. The mind that races all day long is not going to shut off. Don't judge your practice, meaning don't ask yourself, is this working or not working? Are you doing it right or wrong? We're just going to sit. We're going to breathe. You'll hear sounds inside, sounds outside. This is life. And the practice of meditation is learning to get quiet and still within all of the chaos. Posture, if you are on a cushion, often it helps slide into the front third, pushing the stomach forward. Allows the back to straighten. If you're on a bench or a chair, also just trying to sit up straight, shoulders are relaxed. Hands can be on the knees or in the lap, whatever is comfortable. I will guide us as we begin. We'll settle into a little bit of silence. Most important, do not expect anything. We're just going to sit and breathe. And starting with the eyes closed, if comfortable, or slightly open. Mouth is open or closed. We'll start with taking 3 deep breaths, slowly. And eventually, settle into a natural rhythm of the breath. Noticing the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought. And start with gently guiding the attention, focus to the stomach or chest. And breathing in, feel them rise. Breathing out, they fall. Simply continue this practice, observing sensation of breath. And as the mind wanders, lost in thought, recognize it. Release that thought. Return attention, focus to the breath. Where's your mind? Lost in thought. Release that thought. Return to breath. letting go of expectations, letting go of judgment from the practice, just sitting, breathing. Keeping the mind alert, aware of each sound, each thought, each physical sensation, yet concerned with nothing but sitting, breathing.
And with the body still, rested, and the speech quiet, aware of all sound, and the mind learning to settle. Know what it's like to just sit and breathe. Knowing with each breath, there's nothing else to do. Nowhere else to go. And no one else to be. Everything beautiful, exactly as it is. Sitting, breathing. And once again, taking 3 deep breaths, slowly.
And as you slowly open the eyes, slowly beginning to move. And most important, with the practice of meditation, is to recognize how you feel now, immediately after, compare this to how you typically feel throughout your day. Recognize the difference, if there is one. Ask yourselves how you prefer to feel every day for the rest of your life. And know that however you feel now, it's quiet, calm, and still, or a busy mind, racing mind, whatever you're sitting with at this moment, has nothing to do with anything I said. It's nothing to do with how we sit and hold the hands or cross the legs. It's nothing to do with the sounds around us or anything else for that matter. It has everything to do with your own mind and your own mind's reaction to an external condition. This is what the Buddha called pratitya samuppada, means dependent origination. This is the basis of the Buddha's awakening. The word Buddha simply means awakened. He was a human being no different than any one of us who began to understand why he suffered, why he got angry, sad, depressed, stressed, anxious. He began to understand the causal relationship of all phenomena. And what that means, very simply, for all of us, regardless of where you come from or what you believe in or where you think you're going, your whole life is filled with things that happen. We react. More stuff happens, more reactions. That's what we get. This practice is learning what it's like to respond to something quietly, peacefully, still. Because for most of us, the way you responded to the last 20 minutes is quite different from how you respond to everything else that's happening throughout your day. And so all we're working on is closing the gap to where the way you feel now is closer to how you feel always. Just as driven, motivated, productive, successful, whatever that means to you in your respective lives. But with a mind that's steady, clear, focused, distracted by nothing, disturbed by no one. This practice is not easy. It's not necessarily fun. Meditation is not an escape, as often people think it is. It's direct perception into the present moment. Meditation is free. Buddhist practice is free. Sitting, breathing, becoming aware of what you think, what you say, and what you do. The escape is what often initially draws people to Buddhist practice, meditation, spiritual paths, whatever it may be. Because for various reasons, and we don't have time to get into all of them, people don't seem to be comfortable or settled or at peace in their life as it currently is. So they look for places like this, practices like this, thinking that that thing, that place, that practice, whatever it might be, is going to bring them what they're missing. The first step on the Eightfold Path is the correct view. If your view is that a spiritual practice or place in and of itself is going to fix your life, then I would suggest adjusting your view. The only thing that's going to fix your life is you. Now, the spiritual practice, meditation, Buddhism, whatever you want to call it, is the tool that you can then bring into your life. Yes, I get that. But it has to be brought in. It can't just be something on the outside. Buddhism can't be this thing that you just go to. And I mean that literally or metaphorically. The practice, the tool, must be brought into your life. To where then whatever you're struggling with in your life, you can see that. You can address that. You can look at that. And that's why for me, I mean, and again, many of you know me well enough that my approach is not to like give you a hug and tell you everything's going to be okay and hand you an ice cream cone. Lots of places do that. That's not this approach, right? I mean, the first thing the Buddha said is life is suffering. He didn't say life is suffering and then handed you an ice cream cone. That would have been nice, I guess, but he said explore why you suffer, why you struggle, why you have discomfort, angst, dissatisfaction, why you are not at peace in your life. Explore that. So that's why for me as a practitioner, when I lead, I jump at opportunities, and I'm grateful when things fall during a meditation practice and make a noise. I'm grateful when people are like, oh, I want to sit there, or I want to sit there. Because these are moments to like really challenge people. And honestly ask ourselves, like, what am I so stuck on? What are my attachments to seats? What are my attachments to being told, like, to do something? These things are uncomfortable for us. And that's what needs to be explored. Because if we constantly seek a life where everything is just satisfying our desires and wants and needs, then we're going to do exactly what we've been doing most of our lives, which is what the Buddha taught to not do, which is spend your life seeking, craving, and desiring things and people and places that bring you pleasure. And if you are brand new to Buddhism, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be pleasant in your life and enjoy what you're doing. I'm not suggesting that you make yourself miserable your whole life. Some of us have done that quite well without even it being suggested. I realize that as I said that. So I'm definitely not going to suggest that anymore. But the question, again, we have to ask ourselves is, why are we so uncomfortable often? What is it about our pride, our ego, our cravings, desires, where our problems with authority? That's a huge one. And again, I'm not suggesting that you just blindly surrender and follow some crazy path that's going to, lead you to do foolish things. But really challenge yourself with this stuff. Because and I'll close with this thought, if Buddhist practice or a place like the Dharma Bum Temple, and we're spoiled in San Diego with endless Buddhist places. Within 10 miles of here, there's probably 50 Buddhist places you could go to, literally. So we have a lot. But if this practice and these places that we go to learn just become like going to see a movie, then you're missing it. It's not a show. It's not a performance. It's not something to observe and then walk out of here and say, well, I liked it, I didn't like it. I mean, that's what most people do. I get it. I like, fortunately, and again, most of you know this, but our approach here is, I lead 2 classes a week and that's it. The beauty of that is if you absolutely hate me, we got like 6 other people to lead. So that's great. But what happens very often is people are like, well, I like this person, I don't like that person. Turn it around. Use this practice in places like this as a mirror to ask yourself, what about you are you uncomfortable with? And explore that. Because all of us who lead, we got our own messes, right? To explore and figure out and ponder and work through. So bring this path into your life, make changes, and your days can be more pleasant. But that requires to be a bit fearless. So, and I know none of you live in fear, so I'm not worried about that. So I'll pause there, just open up to questions. I really prefer to respond to what's on your mind, questions, and we use the rest of our brief time this morning for that. Yeah.
What is it that makes meditating in a group? I know people come here just not for the class, but during whatever hours. What is it that makes it more effective or better or whatever you want to use than just doing it at home by yourself?
Yeah.
You know, I don't get up and feed the dog or answer the phone or whatever if I'm here. Is it sort of more of an energy thing?
No. You answered it. I was going to ask you some questions that would allow you to answer it, but you started to answer it yourself. People often, so let me ask you this just to confirm. The question was, what is it about coming to a group that makes it easier or better to meditate? And then you started to share that, you know, you're not getting up to feed the dog or whatever it is. Is it an energy thing? And my initial response was no. I get it. A lot of people say the energy. The energy in here is no different whether you're all here or not. I hate to break it to you. I walk in here when this place is completely empty. Maggie and I walked in here nearly 5 years ago when the place had been empty and pretty much deserted. And it felt amazing in here. All right. You know what's not right in front of you? A TV set you can turn on. A refrigerator that you can walk to. The phone's probably in your pocket, but maybe you silenced it or left it in the car. There's no dog, at least at the moment, running around in front of you. We do have dogs here a lot, so, or often.
So it's more lack of distraction and presence of like-minded people.
Not even like-minded people. I get it. You're trying to put this on others. I know the people in this room. You're not like-minded, thank God. And you don't want to be like my mind because that's an absolute nightmare. And I don't say that out of like some little humility, like, oh, he's the leader here and he's so humble. No, my mind is a freaking mess. Your mind is not like mine. Nothing like mine. No one's mind in here is like anyone else's mind. Nobody's. You're not like-minded. That's these, and you asked, but this is to everybody. This is kind of that cliche of like going to places like this. Like, I want to be surrounded by like-minded people. You're not like-minded. You're all your own individuals with your own beautiful habits and your own miserable habits, your own pleasant thoughts and your own unpleasant thoughts, your own foods you like and foods you hate, people you like, people you hate, movies you like, movies you hate. All of those things are different. Different religious views, different political views. Yes, different political views. Again, I know most of the people who come here and you all have different political views, despite you might think that because you're in a Buddhist place, everybody thinks the same way. Don't be ignorant. We have people from all sides of the spectrum that come to a place like this. So you're on the right track with the distractions. It's also a deeper, I think, in our own mind, a deeper commitment to sitting in meditation when you're at a place like this. You fully prepared yourself to come in here. You're like, okay, I got up, whether I drove or walked or rode my bike or took the bus or whatever means you used to get, you went through all this effort and energy to come here. You RSVP'd, you put on a mask, thank you very much. You sit, you're sitting in these seats we've set up for you all to be comfortable and as safe as possible. Like, there's a lot of intention that went into the bell hitting, 20 minutes of silence and the bell hitting again. So your whole mind was geared towards coming here for a meditation. That doesn't occur most likely for most people when you do this at home. When you do this at home, you have a million other things going on, and you're like, I'm just going to try to carve out 15 minutes. Just leave me alone. Shut up, leave me alone so I can sit for 15 minutes in peace. Get away from me so I can sit for 15 minutes in peace. That's what's going on at home. When you come to a place like this, you have now run away from all that stuff. And yes, I use run away. Like I said, what do most people use Buddhist temples for? Escapes. Do not use them. Remember Shel Silverstein? The Giving Tree? Don't use things. Does that help? Great question and very common. And I've been leading groups for a long time, and most people will say exactly what you said. Is meditation is better in a group. But the challenge is, you want to roam around with these 40 people all day long? So then we have to figure out, like, yes, it's better in a group because of whatever reason, but then we're not in a group all day long. So the practice is to figure out, how can I replicate this intention, this sitting, this effort anywhere? Otherwise, you're going to be running to a place like this all day long. And, we close at 3:00, so. Yeah.
I recall you saying that when you started meditation, you used numbers up and back, and then made them bigger and different colors. And I'm just wondering, I guess it's okay since that was what your teacher directed. But do you attempt to try to get away from that and then just breathe?
Yeah.
Or is it okay to use a mantra? Or?
Yeah, good question. And, I very rarely, if ever, I'll explain the practice in a minute, but very rarely, if ever, do I still do that practice. My practice is to simply use sensation of breath. But that was really a training to cultivate the, when I say ability, I don't mean that as if like there's some grand ability, but it's a training to help one learn to just abide in sensation of breath without allowing the mind to wander too long and bringing it back, right? In general, for you and for anybody who might be new or newer to meditation, there are so many different types, as you know, of meditation practices. None of them necessarily right or wrong, good or bad. I'm a big fan of the meditation that is free, and I'm a big fan of the meditation that you'll do. So if you find a practice that you enjoy and you like it, stick with it, as long as it's not causing harm to yourself and others, right? If 1,000 people lead you in meditation, they're going to lead you 1,000 different ways, right? None of them are necessarily better or worse than the other. They're different. So you probably don't spend all your time going to a restaurant eating food that you don't like. You go to the food you like. So meditation is the same thing. Find the practice that you like. That specific practice and again, yes, that was, my master taught me that. This was 2005. And the practice was in seated meditation. And my personal practice is an eyes open. But this practice was done with the eyes closed. And so when you're breathing in and breathing out, you would count 1. Breath in, breath out, count 2. Breath in, breath out, count 3. You would continue 1 to 10, 10 to 1. So forwards and then backwards. And if you lost focus, all of a sudden I'm on 6 and I'm like, oh, what am I going to have for lunch? Back to 1. You'd start over. So 1 to 10, 10 to 1. After that, then you would visualize the number being drawn. So breath in, breath out, 1. And I would visualize like a hand drawing 1. Breath in, breath out, 2. Breath in, breath out, 3. Continue 1 to 10, 10 to 1. Then you would do the same thing, and then you would do breath in, breath out, 1, but you would see it in a color. And for me, I just chose the color red because it was bright. So breath in, breath out, then I would see the color being drawn 2, red. Same thing, breath in, breath out, 3, red. 1 to 10, 10 to 1. And then the last one is all of that, but then you see the number expanding. 1, drawn, red. It gets larger, it gets smaller. 2, drawn, red. It gets larger, it gets smaller. So there's, the only word I can come up with is intense. It's an intense concentration that you're practicing, right? So then, for me, the practice now, and this is the Zen practice, is an eyes open practice. Eyes are open, you're staring at the ground, you're breathing in, you're breathing out, you abide in sensation of breath. As the mind wanders, you immediately recognize there's a thought, and you come back to the breath. But why? Does that make sense so far with me? Yeah.
It would take a long time to do the practice that you started if you had to keep coming back when you lost it.
Yeah. Hours for years. Yes. It's not a 6-week practice. It's a lifelong practice. It's hours and hours a day for years. Yes. Now, why is this important? This isn't about like mastering some silly meditation practice of seeing numbers. Any of you been angry or pissed off this week? Any of you lied this week? Right? The anger. Anyone been holding on to anger for 5 years? 10 years, 20 years? I've done this question before, so I know all your hands go up. Sorry, I didn't mean to look right at you. But some of this stuff, years. We've been carrying anger with us. When we are feeling anger in that moment, and it's something that happened 10 years ago, where's our mind? 10 years back. What are we not having the ability to do at that moment? Keep our mind in the present moment. What is the meditation practice I just described to you about? Keeping your mind in the present moment. How do you learn to deal with all the chaos of life and not make excuses and blame everyone? You stay in the present moment. How do you practice that? Meditation. Again, another misconception so many people have is like, I want to learn about this Buddhist thing. I'm going to go to this Buddhist place and I'm going to do some meditation. But I'm going to make no changes in my life and I'm going to be just as pissed off at everybody as I've always been. Your life will never change if you don't understand that your life as it is right now is your meditation and Buddhist practice. There is no separation. It's not a movie. It's not a show. You don't observe it outside of you. It is you. Doesn't matter if you're Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Jewish, pagan, or lack thereof, all of the above, or whatever you are or are not. You're human. And you have an opportunity to go out into the world today and be kind to yourself and others, or be mean to yourself and others. And your ability to appreciate present moment as it is will determine your actions, and that is your karma. And if you carry around, which so many of us do, years of anger and resent and hatred, then what do you think your actions are going to be filled with? Exactly that. I want to read, if I can find it as we close, something I saw this morning. I don't know if I'll find it now. Today is the anniversary of Suzuki Roshi's death. He built the San Francisco Zen Center and wrote Zen Mind, Beginner Mind. For me, has always been my greatest Buddhist teacher. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to find it, but it was a beautiful quote. that I saw, and yeah, it's gone.
It was good.
But it was really great.
Is that the close?
That's it, yeah. So I'm going to close on those wise words. Suzuki Roshi did say laughter is so important in your life. So while I failed completely at finding his quote, at least most of you laughed. So I feel like giving tribute and honor to him. We'll join palms. May the benefit of this practice be shared with all beings in all directions. May all beings be at peace. May all be free from suffering. May any merit gained from this practice be transferred to the more than 4 million lives that have been lost during this pandemic and to their family and friends who suffer at this time, as well as Daniel Wooten during his time of rebirth, and to Mark and Nancy and their entire family who suffers at this time. May they all be at peace. May we all be at peace and free from suffering. So a few quick announcements before you head out. Thank you all for being here. My name is Jeff. I'm a Dharma bum. We opened this temple nearly 15 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those of us who lead, we're not monks, we're not nuns, we're not gurus, we're not masters, we're not teachers, we're not looking for students. We're just practitioners. We do our best to take our understanding of Buddhist teachings and put it into terms that hopefully make sense to those who show up. Just about every night we have different practices going on. As I alluded to earlier, different people leading. Tuesday I do the intro class, which is basically this. Wednesday, Alex does the metta, loving kindness practice. Travis does Thursday. It's a Dharma Bum basics and meditation. And then this again, Saturday morning. Our recovery Sangha meets twice currently. We were closed for 16 months, as most of you know, for the pandemic, during the pandemic's height. And so we still have somewhat of a limited schedule. Again, recovery Sangha Tuesday night, 7 p.m. downstairs. That also requires an RSVP, just like this one does. And then Sunday morning, 10 a.m., recovery Sangha meets here. Monday through Friday, we sit at 8 and 8:30. So if you want to start your morning and just come sit for 25 minutes or close to an hour for both, you're welcome to. Saturday, Sunday, the temple's open 12 to 3. Other than that, currently the temple is closed during the day, and then it opens again during nighttime. Buddha for You downstairs, same thing. It is open 12 to 3, Saturday, Sunday. Maggie's down there now, so if you need books or anything like that, welcome to go check that out. And then that also closes during the week and is open an hour before class, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So other than that, we are looking forward to in the new year, we're going to bring back our Monday night Zen group. We're still doing just about everything we did before, but some of it is still virtual. But Ken, who's led our Zen practice for years, will return on Monday nights. And then I'll talk to Amy and Kayla, who've been leading the Tonglen practice on Sunday nights online. We'll look at maybe bringing that back in Sunday night as well. We've really taken the last 4 months of reopening just to kind of feel it all out and see what it would be like and how it would go. So we appreciate all of you for making it go as smooth as possible during these crazy times. So other than that, Tom, Kira, Karen, can you all raise your hands? If I forgot anybody who's a regular, sorry. But those three, almost every Saturday, stick around outside and do gardening. So we've got a great little gardening crew. They've just taken incredible care of the outside space when we really kind of shut down the group cleanings on the inside and things like that, just for safety. But so if anyone wants to stick around for 5 minutes or an hour, you're welcome to, or whatever, they'll be outside. Yeah, and I believe we will do our midnight meditation on New Year's. So stay tuned for that. We've done that every year for 15 years, except last year. But I'll share more as we have more. So thank you all for what you do and for being here, and be safe. We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Let me just shut this off. All right.